Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of Getting Back to Work, sponsored by our host, sponsored by Openpath. Thank you. I am Bert Hart, and my lovely hosts.
I'm Mandy.
And today, this is what, week 19?
Week 19, yeah.
19. Oh my goodness. I just want to thank you all for being our lovely viewers and checking us out. This has been quite the journey. Lots of great articles, and today we do not lack in that. So to get us started, I will give us our first article. And our first article is coming from the BBC. And it is titled, Can Young People Thrive in a Remote World? Written by Sam Bum. I hope I said your name right. This article starts out talking about a 22-year-old named Nicole Zhao, who started her first job working in the cybersecurity risk consultant era. And she hadn't expected to launch her career off, remotely from her apartment in Los Angeles. Zhao says that she desired that camaraderie of hanging out with her coworkers and spending time with them, and like attending happy hours. She mentioned it's kind of hard to be an engineer in a to have that social atmosphere and to be there by herself. Plus, learning the ropes of a new job in a remote environment means Zhao has to advocate for herself in a more overt way than she would like. And she says, I'm more of a observant employee. She says she prefers to be discreet rather than being like, SOS, I need help constantly. And that, that kind of made me think about a few people that I've recently spoke with who came into a new role. They've constantly had to deal with the anxieties of always having to have to be more vocal, in their new role or whatever, compared to like how they used to be in their past new roles, where they just kind of like roll with the punches, sit back and listen and learn from people who are already doing it. But because everything is so digital now, everyone really has to like have more of a voice and say something, which only adds more anxiety for people who are more reserved. Zhao had to adapt, and she had to learn new ways of absorbing information and cues vital to her job. She said, and I quote, "When you're working remote, you need to be very vocal about the assistance you need and the help you're looking for. As a new grad and a new hire, it definitely affects the way I can learn." Then this article spins off into another life, another 22-year-old named Katie Dillon, who is a recent, graduate and a software engineer. It talks about her way too familiar routine of getting up in the morning, and 20 minutes before her meeting, fixing her hair and, standing behind her laptop, right before her stand-up meeting starts. And, she talks about, how before COVID-19, around at the same time, she would be, sipping on some coffee, getting ready to head into her job. And it's kind of crazy because, I have been in a few meetings where, I'm still wearing my PJs and I'm just like, well, all right, I'm just going to roll out of bed. It's going to start this time. I don't have to get up in the morning and go for a commute. So I can definitely relate to her in that regards. As we mentioned before in past shows, it's becoming harder to connect. And that's definitely something that's affecting, younger workers today. Another quote that I pulled from this article that I thought was awesome. And it says, when you've been working at an organization for a long time, and then you're forced to work from home, you do have the benefit of those long-term relationships with colleagues, says Amanda Jones, a senior lecturer in human resource management at King College London. People know you, people know what you're capable of. And geez, I mean, being able to have those relationships is key. I mean, just how we converse and stuff like that. Even though we haven't like actually been in office together, but because we've had the time to spend with people to like spend together, it's not hard for us to like feel comfortable to talk and everything like that.
Hash things out.
And that's just one of the challenges that younger people will have to face. And then there's the technology avalanche, because companies are adjusting to the remote life or whatever. And they see that new workers are having trouble, connecting. One of the things that they've done to like kind of help this in a way, but kind of like hurts in the same time, is to like give you like different platforms to socialize and to connect with, the people that you're going to be working with and asking questions. This helps, but at the same time, it's so much technology that people are, younger people are becoming a little bit more overwhelmed. And it's still like, not the same. It's just a response though, that, companies had to do to kind of like, adjust. But I mean, there are plenty silver linings to this work from home era that we're now in, for younger people. I mean, the reality has sunken in for like recent grads, many of whom only need, the internet to connect and perform their jobs, and don't need to be tied down to like a cubicle or anything like that. They get the flexibility, of, kind of working wherever they want to work. And I mean, they obviously, if they want to, work outside of the big cities or stuff like that, they can. And it's definitely a lot of silver linings there for the younger people. And that's pretty much the gist of this article. There's a lot more information. I think you should just, give it a read. It was a really good article. A lot of this hit home for me because, like I said, I've been in meetings in the past where I was still wearing my pajamas and, had on my really nice shirt.
Yeah, no, it sounds like there's a lot of give and take to it because, like recent college grads, it sounds like it could be really overwhelming to come into a new company where you don't know anyone and you haven't gotten that chance to like actually physically be in the office, interacting with your coworkers and them getting to know you and how you work, how you operate, who you are, your work ethic, all that stuff. So it has to be a bit nerve-wracking to not really know and have to start out virtually and not know who's the best person to contact, like for certain information, stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's got to be scary. But on the flip side, it's a lot more flexible. Things are a lot more flexible. And maybe, I mean, it's not the worst thing either. It's just like maybe this is just how you learn and adapt to this big change. And this is how, recent grads are forced to kind of exert themselves, to put themselves out there. And it could be something that could be highly beneficial to them. Because I wasn't necessarily pushed in that kind of way until a bit a little later on, a couple years later on into my career to actually have to be more vocal and be like that. So it could only serve as a positive too. So,
but I could
good
definitely, I could
take,
definitely understand. I could definitely understand the anxiety there that might like build up from having to like be in this new place with new people and like, you know,
Yeah.
just to be in a position where you're like, okay, like, am I doing a good job? I don't know. Should I like,
Mm-hmm.
who do I ask questions? Because when you're doing something new and especially your job, it's just like, I don't want to ask too many questions. I don't want to feel like I'm not doing my job right. But now you have to. It's
Yeah.
man, this hits home. This hits home to me.
I think a little more what's going to be interesting is my article
Okay.
is going to build a little bit on that technology part, and we're only going to have to keep keeping up in some way, or maybe this will actually take a little bit off of our shoulders here,
Okay.
because we're talking about AI.
Okay.
So this next article is from AllWork.Space, and it's titled "Tech and AI to Play a Major Role in the Future of Work." And this is by Joe Monnier. I hope I said that right. It's a fairly brief article, but it really gets to the point, as it just jumps right into talking about a joint study
Okay.
that was recently done by Citrix. Of course, surprise, surprise, I always have my studies. Done by Citrix, Oxford Analytica, and Coleman Parks, that studied over 500 C-suite leaders and 1,000 employees. And these are the results of the study.
Oh, many.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, pause for a second. You mind starting the sentence over? Sorry.
Which one?
Just backtrack 3 sentences just to be safe. It
Should
paused.
I? Oh, did I lose contact?
Yeah, you pause for a second. That's all.
Oh, okay. I'll start over. Okay. So, and this article is from AllWork.Space, and it's titled "Tech and AI to Play a Major Role in the Future of Work," and it's by Joe Monnier. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a fairly brief article, but it really, for that reason, it just jumps to the point and talks about the study that was performed by Citrix. Of course, I always have studies performed by Citrix, Oxford Analytica.
I love those studies.
Yeah, they're great. And Coleman Parks, they studied 500 C-suite leaders and 1,000 employees. And the results of this study from all of these people revealed that about 75% believe that in 15 years, artificial intelligence will significantly speed up the decision-making process and make workers more productive. So like I said, like maybe take a bit of a weight off our shoulders here. So we'll see. They also believe that new jobs will be created that will include roles like robot/AI trainer, virtual reality manager, which I could see being definitely something like we start to use in the future for showing multifamily like lots, like
Yeah.
rentals and apartments. So we can see that, and we can actually sit and almost kind of feel like we're sitting in the living room like we would physically if things were different.
Oh.
And then the other one is advanced data scientist. And I'm actually seeing these roles, like data scientist roles, pop up more and more lately. So I think that we are heading in that direction for sure. They also say the future work is also looking pretty good. As according to the study, 75% believe that tech platforms will provide instant access to highly specialized on-demand talent, which will create more flexible roles that will also be fueled by technology. And then 57% of participants in the study also believe AI has the potential to make the majority of business decisions by 2035, and potentially eliminate the need for traditional senior management teams. Whoa.
Okay.
I wonder how senior management teams now feel about that. And then finally, we have we're going to see these AI angels. So I guess, so like AI angels, digital assistants driven by AI will draw on personal and workplace data to help employees prioritize their tasks and time and ensure mental and physical wellness, which is kind of already like similar to what we have now, with stuff like, I think, what is it? Airtable, Zendesk, stuff like that. But yeah, overall, very interesting stuff here. A cool look at what the future of work potentially has in store for us. And who knows, maybe we won't have to necessarily wait 15 years to see some of these things come to fruition. What do you think, Bert?
I mean, I hope that it comes faster. One of the things
Yeah.
I've been thinking about, in terms of AI and some of the games and systems that I use. I was thinking about like how they use virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll give some good take. To kind of like kind of keep people distant, but
Yeah.
kind of still be in that just like world or whatever. But yeah, I hope the technology comes out a lot faster so we can all can benefit from that.
Here's to hoping. We'll see.
Fingers
I think
crossed.
it's
Fingers
positive.
crossed. Well, with that being said, I have one last article for us today, and it is a shorty but a goodie. This article is coming from The Entrepreneur, and it's written by Jessica Thomas. And it is titled, Want to Work Remotely? Try looking for jobs in these 10 states and cities. So I'm not going to give you the 10 states and cities, but I will give you the top 3 from this data because I want you to go in and look at the rest on your own just to keep this thing nice. So in this article, Jessica talks about, she mentions how recent high schoolers and college grads, they're looking to enter the workforce for the first time, and remote work is particularly appealing for them. They could live at home and save money while working, or try out jobs in few cities before picking a more permanent home base. The demand of remote work is much higher, due to COVID-19. Obviously, no one wants to go into the office. Not everyone wants to go into the office, I would say. Correct it. In September, Moneypenny. Here comes my data, Mandy. Here comes my data. Moneypenny analyzed 71,000 jobs and posted on Indeed to find the states and cities with the highest number of remote work positions. If you're just entering the workforce and then looking to change roles, consider focusing your search on Florida, California, and New York. Those were the top 3 states. Each had more than 7,000 more jobs available. When Moneypenny did its research, here was the top 3. So Florida obviously came in with 10,826 jobs. California came in at 7,944 jobs, and New York came in at 7,154 jobs. So, there's no surprise there. Not surprisingly, large cities with, a strong tech industry, presence have the highest number of remote positions available. So in terms of, tech industries, this would be New York. There are 10 of them, but I'm giving you just the top 3. There's New York with 1,693 remote jobs. Los Angeles, coming in at 1,086, and Chicago at 1,052. The number of remote roles available across the country is likely to only increase as time goes on. But if you're looking now, you should continue checking and updating. This was a pretty short and sweet article. It lists all the different locations and where you could, you can possibly find more remote jobs. So for those people who are out there who are surfing Craigslist, which I am familiar with doing, looking for remote work, outside of Indeed and oh man, what's all different search engines, Manny?
LinkedIn, Glassdoor.
LinkedIn, Glassdoor. Ooh, Glassdoor can be messy. Glassdoor, LinkedIn. God, it's so many. But this is different. This article definitely kind of gives you a better idea. If you're looking, specifically for remote jobs on, where to kind of like hone in and pinpoint your search. So it was a really short read, but definitely a helpful one for people looking for more remote work, in a time like this. So that is the articles for today, everyone.
Short and sweet, I guess.
Short and sweet. Short and sweet indeed.
Right.
Yes. So again, thank you all for tuning in and checking us out. If you're new here, press subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, press subscribe. We're going to drop a link down here. Thanks again to Openpath for making this possible. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week.
Yeah. Thanks all. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.